Who says my testosterone level is normal if I feel like hot trash? The lab says that because labs report numbers. They don't make diagnoses and they don't determine who goes on TRT and who doesn't. So, what does it mean to have a normal testosterone level? It means that you've had a blood test on one occasion that reported a testosterone level in the normal range. So, what's the normal range? What labs do is they take hundreds or thousands of so-called healthy young men, measure their testosterone levels, and the middle 95% of those measurements, that's the normal range. Now, I say so-called healthy because if your sample comes from people living in a no sunlight environment, 99% indoors, glued to digital sewer pipe transmitters called phones and computers, walking around in a sea of microplastics and endocrine disrupting chemicals, living under artificial lights that destroy your sleep and circadian rhythm, well, your normal range is going to be a reflection of that population and might be considerably lower than what you'd get if you sampled guys who didn't live in such a toxic shit stream. But regardless of where you get the normal range from, the term normal testosterone level is not a clinical term. It's a statistical term. Most people, and sadly, including some doctors, don't know the difference between those two things. When it comes to testosterone levels, normal is a statistical term. It's not clinical, so pay attention. Medical numbers fall into two categories. The first category is there's numbers that by themselves have to be fixed by themselves. And then there's numbers that are statistical references, like testosterone levels, like most endocrine hormone levels. So an example of the first one, if you have a blood pressure of 250 over 130, it doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter how you feel, doesn't matter if you ran a marathon, doesn't matter if you built a shed in your backyard all day the day before or spent all night plowing your good Christian wife. Something needs to be done about that number. That number needs to be lowered. How about potassium levels? If your potassium level is 1.5, you might feel fine now, but pretty soon you won't feel fucking anything. So that number needs to be increased, regardless of how you feel. Testosterone levels are not the same as those, okay? Many men with abnormally low testosterone levels have no symptoms of testosterone deficiency at all. Contrary-wise, there are men with perfectly normal testosterone levels that have all the symptoms of androgen deficiency. So low testosterone simply means your numbers fall below what 95% of so-called healthy young men have. But does not automatically mean that you're testosterone deficient. There's nothing called hypotestosteronemia, for example. So you should never start someone on TRT or deny them TRT based on their testosterone numbers alone. And testosterone labs don't definitively ever say you need TRT or you don't need it. Instead, what numbers do is they provide guidance on who's most likely to benefit. Okay, so there are many studies over several decades that show that men below certain levels, if they have specific symptoms, they can benefit from TRT to fix those specific symptoms. Whereas there are other studies that show that men above certain levels, even if they have certain symptoms, may not benefit. Okay, libido, erectile function is a classic example. Then there's men with specific conditions like metabolic syndrome that can benefit regardless of what their testosterone levels are, because TRT will always improve abnormal body composition regardless of your levels. And by definition, metabolic syndrome patients are fat as fuck and have lots of visceral fat. So the point is, you need a doctor who can combine your specific symptoms, especially your body composition, not just your stupid feelings, your labs, and the research, and not just numbers to guide TRT decisions.